Over 41 families in the Kalinago territory could soon move to their new homes. Kalinago Chief Garnet Joseph says close to 90% of the houses under the Housing Revolution project has been completed.
Most of them are completed. There are one or two houses that yet to be completely finished, in the sense that the electricals are in place and all the plumbing and everything else is in place. But that is more or less the situation in the houses. The biggest concern we have is the allocation of the houses, and we have submitted the proposal to the government on how it should be done, and we presently are waiting a response from them. Based on that, the council will decide how we could proceed with that matter. So that is where we are at present, and also we have allocated areas in each and all the Hamlet territory for the continuation of the housing program that will be funded by the Chinese government.
Joseph says the construction of a new playing field for the community could soon begin.
Well, presently we are in the final stages of preparing to start to work on a new playing field. We've invited tenders and they have submitted that. We have selected a contractor and we're in the final stage of preparing the contract, final documents to start work. So we think that earth-moving equipment should be in the area by the end of this week, and work should, or early next week, and work should come in sometime next.
Kalinago Chief Garnet Joseph. Former Director of Forestry and Wildlife Dr. Cormac Christian says he is concerned about a decision by government to issue an importation permit to the Eggleston-based company called Ruffled Feathers Aviary for the importation of 10 macaws into Dominica. Dr. Christian, who is a former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Forestry, says government should revisit the decision.
Number one, I am not convinced that the actions of the Ministry of Agriculture were consistent and in keeping with the spirit of the Forestry and Wildlife Act, which is Chapter 60.02 of the revised laws of Dominica. And in particular, I'm referring to Section 25 of the Act. And that section states in part that no alien wildlife shall be imported or introduced, lest transported, or released into the country except by the Forestry and Wildlife Division or under a permit issued to an individual by the Minister upon the recommendations of the Director and the Permanent Secretary. It is my understanding that the Ministry of Agriculture directed the Forestry and Wildlife Division to issue such a permit. So in the spirit of the Act, such a permit can only be issued by the Honorable Minister and not by a technician within the public sector. So that is one major concern, that the spirit of the Act not followed. But more importantly, my primary concern as an individual who has invested over 25 years in the management and protection of Dominica's natural resources.
He tells Skyrim News that the decision could have serious implications for Dominica's wildlife security.
Experience throughout the world has shown that the introduction of alien or foreign wildlife species into any country, particularly in small island states, is one of the main contributors for the loss of endemic or native species. Research has shown that, in fact, 39% of all species lost in the world since 1600 have been as a result of the introduction of foreign species into the country. Another major contributor, of course, is the loss of habitat, about 36%. So given the fact that Dominica prides itself as a nature island, given the fact that we have 2 endemic parrot species on the island, one of which is a national bird, given the fact that we have over 175 other permanent or resident species and migratory species of birds on the island, I am of the view that the introduction of exotic species could and have the potential of affecting our native species, irrespective of what the veterinary unit of the Ministry of Agriculture may want to advance. manage effectively any outbreak of diseases among our wildlife species. You saw and we're aware of what happened to our crapo. We had to benefit, or we had to request external assistance in order to address that problem. We have lost a lot of our crapo animals, and we had to depend on the kindness of external partners to assist us in managing that problem.
Dr. Colmore Christian, former permanent secretary in the Ministry of Forestry. Dr. Christian also holds the position of assistant professor for Forestry, Ecology and Wildlife Program at the Alabama A&M University. Proper management regulations at the Portsmouth market and improving the council's revenue are on the cards for the newly sworn-in mayor of Portsmouth, Vernon Daniel. Daniel was nominated mayor of the town of Portsmouth by Minister for Social Services, Community Development and Gender Affairs, the Honorable Gloria Shillingford, following the resignation of former mayor Errol Hill last month.
You know, the whole idea right now with me being appointed chairman is to really get the council, the institution of the council, at a level where it can adequately provide the services that the citizens of the town require. It's going to involve the council's revenue, ensuring that the residents honor their commitment to paying their property taxes, you know, set up, you know, proper and improved management regulations for the Portsmouth market so that, you know, the vendors' fees can be properly collected, improve the management regulations at the Speaker's Food Pavilion so that the rental fees as well can be paid and on time. You know, that will help the council improve its revenue. Also through small community project proposals to donor agencies, and primarily to establish that working relation between the council as a local government chapter and central government, so that allocations can be properly and timely be made available to the council to provide those vital services through financing. These are the things that the council is supposed to be doing, and it has met shortcomings in that area, and I really want to improve that. You know, before thinking of any, you know, future plans or any thing outside of the scope of those basic services, I want to guarantee that those areas are properly addressed.
The newly sworn-in mayor says road maintenance and the upkeep of public conveniences are among areas to benefit under his tenure.
The basic and fundamental services that the council provides or should be providing to the residents, like ensuring that there is proper sanitation, ensuring that there is adequate drainage, proper roadside maintenance, the public convenience upkeep, which is essential to not just the local residents, but the tourists that visit, the people from the other communities that would come and want to use those facilities. They're really in deplorable condition. The town aesthetics as well, you know, the dilapidated structures that I feel they can be replaced with temporary parking lots, and all, you know, unnecessary hindrances in the town that needs to be rectified. These are the things that I would ensure that the council can pass proper, you know, adopt proper policies for one, and then get the proper regulations through to be able to manage.
Newly sworn-in mayor of Portsmouth, Vernon Daniel. The appointment of Mr. Daniel as the new mayor of Portsmouth took effect from Friday, June 11th, 2010. Fireman John Bramant is advising Dominicans to follow proper building codes to ensure they are able to withstand natural disasters. Bramant, who has been trained in the area of urban structural collapse rescue, was speaking on the heels of the 2010 hurricane season.
Especially in the period that we're in, hurricane seasons, wooden structures have the tendency of collapsing as well, especially when, as we said, they did not conform to the very building codes, whereas people use inferior materials, whether shorter nails, inadequate hurricane ties, and based on the intensity of the winds, then they can collapse as well.